What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name's Michael Roman, aka All Fires. Now, we've run a couple of stories in the last week here at the channel that are really starting to feel like what might be the tip of the iceberg. First, it was that Vision Quest might be quietly canceled, writers returning from the strikes a couple of weeks ago, removing that project from their profiles. And then recently, what just happened with Daredevil Born Again, it said that over $150 million had already been spent on shooting 8 to 10 hours of that TV show in a recent exclusive, and while they may keep some of the scenes they shot, most of it's not going to end up getting used. That is a lot of money to waste and have no TV show to show for it. Well, we have a brand new exclusive today, and this coming from an unlikely source, Joanna Robinson, who's been working on a brand new book, The MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. On a recent podcast, she spoke candidly, in some cases, with details that hadn't been reported on yet, and one of them's an update for the upcoming Wonder Man show, which they had already started filming but canceled because of the writer's strike. And this update, well, it's just more of the same. We're breaking down exactly what she said about Wonder Man and why it's looking likely this is the next one on the chopping block for Marvel Studios, then some of the other details and reveals in here, and really a general overall sense of what Marvel Studios already knows has happened to their brand and how desperate they are to try and fix it. We're breaking down this latest update that Marvel Studios Wonder Man may have been canceled, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. And in fact, we're doing a daily variant comic book cover giveaway all the way through this month, and we're going to announce the next round of winners at the end of this video. Again, all you got to do, be a sub, leave a comment if you want, stick around to the end of the video. We get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so again, for context, this was on the Watch podcast with Joanna Robinson. She's been writing a book called MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios, and has had a ton of insight as far as what Marvel Studios is thinking and in real time, what's going on with the Fantastic Four and X-Men, and how the internal barometer for what they thought they were doing with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania really shook them. We're going to get into all that, but there were some times where she sort of broke details that, well, haven't been revealed yet. One of which she even referred to as a scoop when she went on to talk about Wonder Man during this interview and said the following, quote, "I think that I've heard, even so after we've heard about Daredevil, I've also heard," again, Watch podcast scoop, "that, you know, they're trashing the Wonder Man project like that. There's a lot of stuff that that is gonna go in the can." Basically, that means that for what they've already shot of Wonder Man, they're either going to scrap that project altogether like just done with Vision Quest, or end up throwing money at it to sort of rework the project creatively like they just did for Daredevil. Either way, it is a total loss for Marvel Studios, who apparently, and even with this new mandate to try to make the quality over quantity better, still cannot get it right for television shows. And a lot of the symptoms of this she talked about during the podcast, confirming what we had heard recently about Marvel just sort of reinventing how TV's done after all these years, and that it is its own specific medium. Without pilots and showrunners, things can get really complicated. Now, she spoke on a lot of stuff we've already discussed at length at the channel too, about how one project would never really know where it's going to end because of what needs to be set up for the other project, and that in part that's Marvel Studios' fault, who would tell them what they can't do but not reveal what they could do because they would never give anybody the big picture. And I think, in part, that has to do with Marvel Studios' problem of not knowing the bigger picture. But one of the really revealing things that she had to say, past just the scoop about Wonder Man and the fact that other projects might end up in the trash, is just how much Marvel Studios knows they need to get the X-Men right, and just how much of a disaster Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania was. And let me explain a little bit further. She says that internally Marvel Studios knew, and remember guys, she's writing a book on this, literally MCU, The Reign of Marvel Studios. She's covering it all from its inception all the way through. She talked about how Marvel basically knew, because of the pandemic, the way things had been impacted, that say something like Falcon and the Winter Soldier wasn't the show they had hoped it would be, that there were some internal problems, again with the rewrites, the delays from the pandemic, and it was what it was. But when it comes to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, their internal barometer said, as she puts it, that they thought they had a banger on their hands, something that would absolutely smash it at the box office. And regardless of how you feel about Quantumania, again, I always say I enjoyed it despite its flaws. There were flaws in it. It obviously suffered editing and CGI errors. I thought it was a very decent film. Guys, it lost money. Between the marketing and what the budget was, and then after the box office take, it lost money by about tens of millions. And what she said during this interview on the back of that, and will probably be even better articulated in the book, is that it really shook Marvel Studios. It shook them because they thought that it was an absolute home run. It came out and didn't do as well as they thought, which again told Marvel that their internal barometer for what they think the fans want might not actually be correct anymore, which really sort of had them re-examining how they're doing everything. And I think that has more to do with them reworking Daredevil Born Again, maybe even scratching Wonder Man and Vision Quest, because they know now they're at a point where even if they think they have something good, it still might not do well. And to have Quantumania, where they thought they had a home run, lose money, and then Secret Invasion come out and basically be panned across the board from critics and fans alike. I mean, Secret Invasion had me so mad I didn't even do any coverage at the channel, and people noticed. It just wasn't Secret Invasion. That they've got to start right now making sure that everything going forward is basically prime. And where that leaves them is with a project like the X-Men, that it's beyond having to get it right. It can be nothing less than was the original Infinity Saga, the sort of joy and brilliance that all those films inspired in all of us in the fandom. They've got to get that right with the X-Men. There are no redos for that. If they come out of the gate and fail there, what's even left to save them at that point? The interview on the podcast is really good. You can find it over on Spotify. Again, that's the Watch podcast, and the interview with Joanna Robinson. And I would also say, where this book wasn't on my radar at all, I'm going to be very interested to read it and see what's there within. But they make jokes about, you know, the reporting on the Fantastic Four. And my final thought for this podcast, and again, listening to someone who's writing on the behind the scenes and would know better than anybody, she basically confirmed everything that's been reported on and in the rumor mill coming from our industry insider sources for the last 6 or 7 months. And I wouldn't be surprised to find out that even more projects don't end up seeing the light of day. I know that there were recent copyright filings for Spider-Man Freshman Year. I know they've basically finished most of the cell work on that show. But if Marvel Studios is truly trying to make sure that everything they put out is top-notch quality, that simply means some things aren't going to get released. And it sounds like now we're starting to see that with them slashing and burning their upcoming slate. It will be very interesting to see what they decide to fill those spots in with, or again, if we just get much fewer projects. But guys, let me know all your thoughts down below. As always, your reaction to this. Were there any of you who were hyped for Wonder Man? Do you think they're going to throw another $100 million at it to rework it? What do you think the ultimate slate is going to look like now by the time we get to Avengers Secret Wars? I am all ears as always. Quickly, let's get into the giveaway stuff. Okay, we are still giving away PlayStation 5s at the channel. There will be 3 of those announcements before the end of the year. The next one is the Marvel's release, and then Loki's finale right around the same time. But we're also giving away daily comics here at the channel, variant cover comics, and we'll announce a brand new group of winners right here for the last week. If one of these comments is yours, go ahead and reach out to me. DM me on Instagram, which is probably the easiest way. I'll go ahead and connect with you there, or you can email me on my business email. It's under the About section of this channel. I verify your account. I'll get those comics right out to you guys. In the meantime, if you want to be entered to win, super simple. All the same rules will always apply. All you got to do, hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below, and because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on. And as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at I'mFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name AllFires. To those of you who have supported my music already, I can't thank you enough. To those of you who haven't, it would mean the world to me if you give me a couple clicks, even if the music isn't for you. You guys checking it out sends it into the algorithm, which gives it to people who do want to hear it, so it's support nonetheless. Love you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.